It's a huge Twitter storm I've been causing inadvertently.
I've seen you post some things, but I guess I didn't see the storm afterwards. Which one was this one?
I started venting about preparing to collect welfare while being a functional programmer, specifically F#. And me just getting upset at Visual Studio. It's been like 20 years and they're still the people on the JVM, you know what I mean? Like, well, that may not be true. I feel like functional programming is like growing more and more on other platforms, but Microsoft, I feel like they're just late to the game in regards to like taking advantage and accelerating that growth and selling it to businesses so I could be a happy programmer instead of like not wanting to work with different organizations because they don't want to consider modernizing the technologies that they use. They prefer paying extra money to maintain their bug factories. That might sound biased, but if you really entertain functional programming seriously, there's a lot of unnecessary overhead. There is that you'll realize, but they don't want to entertain that. They just want to stay busy with status quo. So,
yeah, I suppose a lot of it has to do with just finding people to maintain, and because C# and Java or JavaScript are so popular, Python are so popular, that they can find people to develop those things, and it's not much of a shift from C and C++, which is taught a lot in college campuses, and Java, which is taught in college campuses. So I'm guessing it's not so much them saying, "Hey, do this." Is that once they start teaching at the college level, or then people will start introducing it more into things. So it takes a while for that. We've just gotten to the era where functional programming has become, really mainstream, or getting to be mainstream, and people are adopting it, and the computers are fast enough to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'll come. It's just I don't think Microsoft can push anything if they wanted to. I mean, if you think about it, why aren't we all using Windows Phone? I liked Windows Phone. It was great.
I like Windows Phone too. Remember during Windows Phone how much they were trying to push WinJS? Yeah. All of a sudden, a lot of the documentation for using various APIs were WinJS. Yeah, they were pushing that hard, but they're not using even half of that effort to push a language that has derived from the lessons learned of C# or just the overall object-oriented programming paradigm. I honestly think it's because they just aren't adequately trained, whoever's in marketing, to really appreciate what overhead is reduced when you compare the two. I think it's a lack of training. I honestly do, man.
So, well, maybe. I don't know. So, how's your work going, anyways? Or how's the?
It's going. I'm on my old laptop, and for whatever reason, oh, here it is right here. Can I do this? Man, this thing is. I forgot this thing is still building. I'm on my old laptop for the sake of time to plug in my headset and be able to record with you. But I got a new machine. It's my 64 gig beast, and it's hella fast, man. Awesome. Or maybe I should say it's more responsive. And so, oh shoot, I made progress. I'm not sure if on this old machine I could demo that, because now I have all these red squigglies, which I don't understand why I have, because I pushed the latest version last night. if that's the case, I can't do a demo on this machine. But yeah, to make a long story short, I I I wired up the page that has a map on it. So now when you do like a checkout, you then transition to like looking for a deliverers page in which, it'll probably on the map, kind of like the Uber or Lyft experience, show, deliverers that are within your area, and then it'll just pick one, and then it'll update the estimated time of arrival. And so that's the part where I'm beginning to get into right now. This thing is still building. Wow. Yeah, my new laptop is crazy fast. This piece of 3-year-old Dell garbage is taking forever. So, what about you?
Well, I did print a manual finally, although it's big mistakes were made as far as it was backwards and upside down and stuff like that. But
well, how did that happen?
It was a real rush job last night. I started working on it last weekend and realized that the inkjet printer that I have just is not conducive to doing that type of print job. What would be ideal is to have, a giant digital press, which would print really, great manuals, but in small quantities. But what I settled on is I ended up purchasing a laser printer. So I got it last night, and I had class the first couple nights, and my you can probably see everything's a mess because I had to rearrange my room to get everything in here. But so I got it last night, and I got it set up and everything, and I'm like, okay, I'll print off some stuff. Tried to print off a couple box covers to see what that would look like, and then printed this out. So I did what I needed to do, which is learn what I don't know. And the big thing that I need to figure out now is to just an easy way to get, given I have a set of pages, get them into an image where I can print them where they should be and in the order that they should be. And so that I can put them together and fold them, and it produces a booklet in the correct shape and dimensions and in the order and stuff like that. So I might there's some software that kind of does this, but it's I don't know if it'll do what I want it to do. So I'm thinking about just writing a quick program to take a set of independent images. So here's my cover, here's page 1, here's page 2, here's page 3, whatever. And then just aggregate those into the different sheets I need, and then bring them up in something where I can send them to the printer and just print back to back, and then hopefully that'll work. There is some issues with, I think that the paper or the printer I have, or maybe it could be the print setting I'm using. I think what's happening is it isn't heating the toner or charging the toner enough where it's sticking to the paper. So there's some toner left behind on the thing that pushes it through. And what is happening is that's getting stuck to the next, like in the next section after it rolls through that first line. So I have kind of like this ghost image over here. So there's some printer problems and quality problems I have to deal with. The print quality isn't great on that laser printer, but I kind of knew it wouldn't be. It's not going to be as good as an inkjet. But I think the feel and the size paperweight I can deal with and stuff is probably worth it. So all in all, it was a successful week of learning everything I don't know with that regard. The other thing I was supposed to do this week is go through and try to put an order through in Shopify, and I did jump on there and start looking at it. I got my credit card my credit card processing information put in, but I didn't actually get through to adding a dummy product and just pushing an order through. I think you have to pick a plan, and I got a little bit shy on it, but I don't know why I'm getting shy on that. So I did some work towards that end, but not enough where I completed what I was supposed to do. So
You need to man up.
yeah.
That seems like you got a lot more accomplished than I did. This thing is literally still booting up my emulator. This is my new machine is like within like maybe 45 seconds, like from build to launching the emulator with the app on it, like it just does it. This crap is like 4 minutes now.
Jesus.
Yeah. The only reason why I'm on this machine is because I literally I was like, I wanted to hop in the shower before I got on this call with you. And yeah, it took me a while to like get out and try to look somewhat presentable. So like, let me attempt to try to share. Let me see. And you see my screen, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I saw red squiggles on here. I'm gonna get rid of that too. All right, so like, get rid of that. Hopefully, it's going to show the latest, all right? Because I pulled Tostitos, freaking oranges. So then the response time is 5 seconds from when I click the cart, and then that, and then I hit confirm. But maybe I'll just change this confirm to checkout, and from there, it's supposed to display a new shell. Okay, yeah. So I'm not sure what to do up here. It just says $20. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to present the state of a $20 charge, given the real estate that I have. I'm honestly thinking that I might make this a carousel page where like you have the ability to look at this map and the status of finding a deliverer and all that. But then if you swipe to the left or to the right, whatever, it'll show your order details, and then you can swipe back and forth. That's what I'm considering. Pay with. If I click that, it should show a couple of payment methods. Yeah, like that. You select the payment method, then this request delivery, which I know I got to do some cosmetic work on making this button more presentable. You click on that, and when you click on that, which isn't wired up right now, then it'll start. This request delivery is essentially a confirmation, right? So you click on that, and then it'll start the process of looking for a deliverer, and then it'll start feeding status updates and provide deliverer details once it acquires one, such as profile image or whatever else, phone number, all that stuff from my Get It Right code kata. I could push in here because most of that stuff is already done. So that's it. I'm switching back. Stop sharing and go back. So
I mean, it looks the app looks good.
yeah.
I wouldn't worry too much about the look and feel because it looks fine. Or I mean, I worry about it, but don't fret about it because it looks fine. It looks good. I still think you might be spending time building something where maybe you could go a lot simpler and try to do something a little less intense as far as where is the deliverer at in relation to me. Maybe you could just say, give a list of here's someone who's close to you, and then just calculate your position in relation to them.
Yeah.
Because at start you're going to be the only one delivering, I assume. So.
Oh yeah. So I let me put this on vibrate. I I supposedly found another developer that is. He says that he gave me positive feedback. I'm like, okay, well, are you interested in partnering with me? You know, with the intent of taking like 10 to like 25% of every transaction we split. He was like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. The app looks pretty. It looks like it's on its way. And so I'm like, all right. And so he said that, you know, he wants to wrap up his hobby project. And within like a month to a month and a half, he'll begin on the Deliverer app, which is the mobile app for people to fulfill it, right, that are on foot or whatever. And so I I want to believe him, but I think he means well. I'm just not sure if a month or a month and a half, if it's really going to be go time, or if other events are going to occur that is going to influence his decision on how he spends his time. So I mean, I'm kind of like aware of that. So that's it though. But it'll be awesome if he can assist, because then I feel like there's progress and I have some type of buy-in of the vision that kind of validates it somewhat. So, yep.
Yeah. It's almost like you should try to find someone else who's willing to come in on it, but is willing to just do deliveries and go out and legwork and go on the beach and hand out flyers. And
I agree. I would have to probably move my girlfriend down here and have her do that. Temp her to make all those deliveries. Yeah, I don't know. Right now, it definitely sounds like it's going to be me trying to make it work and figure out all the kinks. I know there's going to be hella kinks, and I want to be able to record all that and like build some crazy sick responsive services to recognize that and to handle that. But that's probably space age. The things I want to do on the server is like I want to implement every single thing I learned about when I consumed the DevOps handbook. Like even if like behaviors deviate due to like weather or any of those factors, like I want that stuff to be recorded. The anything that's way outside the standard deviation of what's normal, I want that to like send me a notification so I can look at my reports. Like I know that's not important right now, but in a way, like I kind of see this as building my portfolio. And yeah, that's something that I'm interested in, is being able to demo something that I think solves problems that I can like finish, and it'll be like another portfolio item that I can show, so I could convince these people to pay me the money that I want, and that I'm not just a commodity developer.
so have you lost track of the focus here of it's good that you get a side benefit about it being a something you can point at and say, hey, I built this thing, and it's good. But I part of the initial mission here, and maybe I got it wrong, was that you want to build something that's going to make you, in your words, hella money.
Yeah, but I'm also an advocate of killing as many birds with one stone as possible. So here's the thing: is this isn't the first time that I try to build something, or this isn't the first time that I try to build a additional channel of income, right?
Yep.
So far, nothing that I've built in my software career has consistently that I built like actual software, built myself, has consistently delivered me satisfactory results. Right, I made pocket change off of some apps that I've built independently of my 9 to 5, but I've never really built anything that sustainably delivered money to my bank account. And so I take that into consideration, that my failure rate is 100% when it comes to being an entrepreneur. And people tell me that, well, that's normal because You're going to fail a number of times until you have a winning ticket. Then that makes sense to me. I guess I'm just trying to not get ahead of myself. And even though like I may sound pessimistic, which I am, I'm trying to just be a realist, and I'm going to do my part. But at the same time, did so many other things that really didn't deliver the optimal results, that at least I'll have an artifact that is still like beneficial for my career. That's all. I mean, I'm open to feedback.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean that makes sense. I've built some things, you know, apps and stuff in you know, on my own and put it out there and pocket change, like you said. It's not anything I'm, you know, it's bought me a case of beer maybe, but that's about it. But the thing is also, you know, I can see that there's, I guess, you know, and I'm guilty of this too. So maybe this is critique back at myself, is just that I think the problem is we're starting with the technology and the capabilities and stuff like that, and not focusing on necessarily going out and finding the value that we're going to deliver, and then finding people who want it first, and doing the validation steps and stuff like that. You're supposed to do in this, you know, a lot of the, you know, a lot of the entrepreneurs that, you know, get into this stuff, you know, they actually, you know, try to find the need out there, and validate the need, and then go after it with technology second. You know, I've got a little bit of a thing in that I have to, if I say I'm going to build someone a box, I actually have to be able to build a box. So there is some learning I have to do, but you know, I could spend months building out a site for, you know, uploading and configuring and whatever. But the closer I get to this, you know, date that I'm sure I'm going to miss, the more I realize, like, I got to cut stuff out. I've got to get this down to just the bare minimum. You know, I'm even thinking about, originally I was like, okay, my catalog is going to be these things. Well, now I'm down to, why don't I just have it be 1, 2, 3, so 3 simple things. Just, you got your box, your booklet, and, you know, whatever I'm going to have for some sort of media thing. And maybe the 2 things are optional if all you wanted is a box. But like, hey, then I don't have to care about, try to figure out all this other stuff that I was going to figure out. I also thought originally, oh yeah, I'm gonna have this site and it's gonna have a checkout page and all this stuff, but that's figuring out e-commerce and taxes and all of that, when I can just go to Shopify and poof, it's all there. Hey, that's less I have to do now. And so, you know, just focusing on getting the bare minimum that will take to make this usable, and then doing the hard part, which is actually getting out and talking to people and getting it in their hands, and the marketing and that, all that uncomfortable stuff that we'd have to do as people who otherwise just work in technology.
Yeah.
So, like, I think it's the focus on tech is the wrong thing. That enables the business model, but the business model should work without the technology. In theory, you should be able to go out and hand out flyers with your phone number on it and say, I do beach delivery, and then call me.
Well, yeah. The issue is there's probably 80% of the people that, there's probably like 75% of the people that are literally on vacation, and you're not going to see them the next day. Or what I want to do, I honestly think it will be the most effective, is rent a boat and put a huge banner on that boat and sit it right behind the buoys in South Beach, and just post up, right? And then have my deliverers like just on standby, and it's just there from like 10 in the morning to like dusk, and like people see it, they hear music blasting on it, right? And like that's what I want to do. I just need like I don't know, $100,000 to buy the boat. Probably $800 to get the banner and have it installed on there. So I mean, I was inspired by that when I saw the Ultra Music Festival. There was a boat that had Ultra Music Festival banner on it. It was just docked in the middle of the water on the causeway. So anybody coming from mainland Miami to South Beach would see it. And I'm like, I need something like that, right? Yeah, you know, going on my morning jog and passing out flyers. Yeah, that's cool. But literally having a 10-hour sign that's within close proximity for probably 50,000 people to observe, you know. And if I actually don't want to dock it, I just want to push it up and down the strip, like that's what I really need. Of course, that's a major investment. Even a rental is probably going to cost me, I would assume, probably 1,000 or 1,500, probably for like 6 hours or something. I don't know. What do you think? Like, I need something that attracts the masses, that's going to get people's attention, versus me just tossing out flyers like once every, I don't know, 2 minutes to people that I don't even know if they're in my target market or not. I need to
Yeah.
blast it. There's also planes that go overhead, but that's $800 to strap a banner onto a plane to fly over South Beach and then come back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it would be a huge investment, and it could also backfire then if you're the only person. This is your double-sided marketplace thing. If you're the only person delivering, and what if it was successful? Now you don't have, you've paid $800 for 4 or 5 deliveries that you can actually do. If you think about it as a numbers game, now people get it in your head, but if they're there on vacation and they're not going to come back and repeat, well, then you're a little bit.
Well, so the thought process is, what if I'm just thinking out loud, right? Based on what you said earlier, or what I thought you said, is establish if people are willing to pay for your service. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So people take that out, they go through that workflow, they hit checkout, the map gets rendered. It says, acquiring a deliverer. They still have an opportunity to hit the big red cancel button, right? Deliverer found. Name is Tyrone. They still have an opportunity within a certain window of time to hit that cancel button. They don't do it, right? I say all this because maybe if I brand the app with some throwaway name, in which I'm basically creating a fictitious app that I'm going to rebrand, maybe it's okay for them to order something, and then after like 2 minutes, we're sorry, blah, 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 whatever message. We did not deduct any funds from your bank card. I have their personal information. And based on that little experiment of me having my little rented boat with a banner, some music on it, maybe I'll have some pretty girls on it. Maybe that's enough to figure out if how many people actually ordered and went through the process. And then take that into consideration, slap a new brand on there on the app, change the name of it, re-register it in the app store as something different. And now I know that, well, on this day, I got so many delivery requests that I canceled, and I know that this is something that is likely to succeed based on how many people actually made the request. So,
yeah, that seems like it could work.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to pay my taxes, I could put the money towards that versus Trump and his Goonies. All right. That stuff is far out there, but I think that's the best way. If I want to do it, well, I'm gonna throw a party on the boat.
Yeah.
Write it off of my taxes.
Well, the big thing is, should it be far out there? It's maybe it's something where you try to get it sooner than later, so you don't waste 6 more months working on it and then find out nobody wants it, type of thing. Launch fast.
Yeah, you have a point. If I do that, then
because your time is valuable, right? Your time is
I'm unemployed.
Well, yeah, but the thing is that, you know, if you spend 6 months, or let's say just 3 months building it, and you could have been working for even one of those months if you could find a job, you know, you're going to make a heck of a lot more money working during that period than you would if you just worked on this thing with nothing for 3 months, right?
Right. Remember the conversation we had? I'm sure we talked about this a couple of times. And I thought your feedback was like focus on one thing or something. The whole kill a whole bunch of birds, or kill a whole bunch of birds with one stone is on the services part. I want to be able to. There's two fronts, right? There's the beach delivery front as a business, but then there's also mom and pop to mid-size businesses that I want to be able to license out the service. So basically, I want to be able to have the ability to stamp out a mobile solution for businesses that rely on delivery for their business, right? Whether it's a dry cleaning business that feels that they can increase their profits by doing pickup and delivery, to these mom and pop restaurants or whatever. Like, the second front is I want to take the technology that I built for the speech delivery app and be able to license the service to businesses. And if they want an actual app of their own, to be able to stamp out the same app, but just throw a different brand on it. So that's the second component of it. And that'll be two streams of income using the same work, right? So that's the stretch goal, which is out there. I'll stay focused on the beach delivery, but I want to be able to maximize my investment of technology, period. You know what I mean?
Sure. At this point, have you just completely dismissed your Amazon product development thing then?
Yeah. I mean, a couple of days ago, I was looking for some things to sell. I was looking at hourglasses because I think it's cool, but I think the rest of the world doesn't give a damn about hourglasses. But yeah, I've pretty much gave up. I pretty much gave up on that idea for right now, just because I feel like it's just a lot of work to identify something that's really, regardless of how popular it is, that I don't have to compete with too many people and I could go full throttle. So like, I'm not going to entertain that for right now. But I think what we discussed and what you alluded to, hopefully if it costs less than $2,000, grab a boat, grab a huge banner that people can see the services that are offered, have a fictitious app in the app store, and record how many requests I get. I could take that data and then I could do a couple things. If the data is optimistic, then I have the option of going to not a loan shark, but I don't know, what do you call it?
Investors,
and tell them, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I demoed. These are the results of when I put it out there. The people that were serious about it, they actually didn't cancel after they hit the checkout button. And I think this is promising, and I would like to lock up South Beach, the beach in Fort Lauderdale, and just take all of the coastal beach area. And then if we could get that solidified and locked up, hit Venice Beach on the West Coast. Like, that's a dream, right? So
yeah. So figuring out what success is in that regards, and you know, maybe a good task for you this week would be to actually go out and price out that boat banner thing. See if you can find a company and figure out what it would cost you.
Yeah, that and well, yeah, okay, good feedback. And also, like, I get, it's a fictitious. I think. Do we agree? Pump out a fictitious app
Yeah, I think that plan works because I mean, what you're doing is you're validating the market, right? You're going to determine whether this is going to be at all successful because you could build this thing for 6 months, get it production ready, actually useful production ready, fly a banner across the beach, and then realize nobody orders anything. Nobody cares to order anything. Or you could build a fake one that has got just minimal stuff in there, but maybe try to figure out what people are mostly eating or consuming or desiring on the beach and put them in there and see if you can get, I don't know. You'd have to define what success is. Is it 10 orders? Is it 100 orders? Is it one order?
No, it's not one order.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, figure out what that is. And I mean, cause you could otherwise waste a lot of time on it. Like I said, it's building technology is expensive and a long process to build it right. And, it'd be probably good to say, hey, is this going to work or not, sooner than later. But, that's, of course, I've never done this, but I mean, that seems like a decent approach.
Yeah, I would say success would be if I market the services, and we'll take this boat thingy. If I get 20 orders just off of that one experiment within the span of, let's say, 6 hours, then I think that it's the business is viable.
Yeah, I suppose that you'd have to determine the cost of the boat, and then how do you continually get new customers then after that too? I mean, you could validate that people are willing to use the app if they know about it. So I guess you could solve that problem after you figured out whether people are willing to use it in the first place. So,
well,
yeah,
it may be.
I'm theorizing here. I don't.
Well, theorizing is it may just be lease a boat or like throw a mortgage on a boat, and if it really does show that because this boat is out there with this banner, people are responding with money, then maybe it makes sense to have a boat and always have it out there, especially from Thursday to like Sunday. And maybe it is what it is until the state tells me that I can't do that or I have to pay them money to have my boat go back and forth. I don't know what the laws are, but just keep doing it until they shut me down. Most expensive is bad.
Yeah,
I could buy one now, but then that means I couldn't pay my taxes if I did. So
yeah, you got to pay that or you go to jail. So don't want to do that.
revoke my citizenship and just be done with it. All right. Well, hey, I think this is positive. I think you gave me way more feedback than I gave you. It seems like you already know what you're doing, and you already are like just marching down.
Yeah, I mean, I know what I need to do. I'm not doing some things that I probably need to do, but really, if I would, I'm him-hawing about this too. So maybe some of the advice I'm giving you is back towards me is just I really need to focus on finding a customers more than I am on production, because I can figure out the production.
But let me insert myself real fast. The thing is, like, I'm a customer, right? I need to send you the graphic design assets. I think that's going to be. I'm not a video game programmer, so maybe every video game programmer, that's like a no-brainer. Like, duh, I'm selling video games. Is that the case? Like, what is that like? Translated, is that a barrier to entry for getting your services? Like, or is that like a no-brainer? Anybody that's producing a game, they're going to have assets like that to go ahead and send to you. It's no issue.
No, so they wouldn't have them to start. The thing is it's that is, I think, one of the biggest barriers that would prevent people from using this is just it takes time and energy to put together a decent manual and box cover. I think there's opportunity down the line if I can just validate that anyone's willing to buy this, and then see if that is an issue. Then I can try to solve that with tooling, where I could say, hey, here's a template system. Enter your this, and this, and then we'll give you it in a couple different ways. And then you could just order that as a thing. So there's some ways to solve those problems. They generally will have, game assets they can work with. I worked with someone last year that I met at CodeMash, who was releasing a game and was interested, and he gave me a box cover design. It's right here.
Okay.
He gave me that to work with, and I ended up making a back for it later. But so there's usually art and assets they can do to produce that stuff, but layout is a different skill, I think, than game programming. What I'm hoping or desiring, or what I want to tap into, is like people will create, like on Shutterfly or whatever, will create little books or something like that for their kids or family photos or stuff, mementos, whatever. And putting time and energy into a game, that's a pretty intense thing, and there's usually almost no reward or payout for it on the developer. So it's more, I'm hoping that they'll want to have some sort of a talking point or memento of the work that they did, and that's what I'm kind of trying to target right now. But I don't know if that answers your question. But yeah, so they're gonna have to, here's the template, go and fill it out, and then the template being just the layout, rather, like, here's where I need you to put your images, and I'll print it out and package it up and send it to you. But yeah, there is a huge component of work that they have to do to make the target thing realized. Which, like I said, when you're busy and you're a hobbyist, maybe it's just not something people will want to do. And I'll find out pretty quick if that's the case, I suppose. I don't know if that answers your question, but
no, it does.
Yeah, someone was already willing to make something to talk to me. I kind of fell off the bandwagon because of my he didn't. I did because of my the personal stuff that happened last year. But
what are you charging?
That's the other piece of it. I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to figure out what the value would be to people, and it's
200 too low?
Yeah, it's really difficult, I think, I think that people in the Midwest, like I am, are notoriously cheap, especially in maybe where I'm at. And I look at services and things like that and go, whoa, I'm not going to pay that. I'm really, I know it's like Shopify is going to offer a lot of stuff for me, but I look at the price and go, oh my gosh, this is expensive, because we're kind of cheapskates. And so I don't know what people would be willing to pay for it, to have it printed. I feel like I need to make, I have in my head, like I should try to make it so I could take away $10 off the box. Calculating cost it's not impossible. It's a little difficult, but there's some, I can figure that out. But I'm thinking that, something in the like $20 to $40 range is probably right. But I don't really know for sure. So I'm still a little unsure of what people are going to pay for.
$20 to $40 range. Doesn't this take manual effort on your part?
Yeah. It's not. The thing is, it's not scalable from where I am. As far as my current process is not scalable. Like if I got 100 orders and I'd be like, nope, can't do it. Or yeah, I'll do it, but it's going to take you, months and months to do. But the thought is if I can get this minimal capability in place and I can find a small amount of orders and I can build up that, hopefully it's not a deluge, but I can build out capacity as I go. There's a company that does this thing for board games, so I know it's possible. Their market's a little bit more maybe like there's an obvious value that they get from the fact that if you make a board game, you're going to use it type thing. The prototypes, it's called the Game Crafter. If you look that up, they sell. And I could probably use their pricing ranges to figure out what I should be charging. The box I think is somewhere around $6 or something. The manual is probably about the same, which puts me and then the media puts me probably about the $20 range. I'm thinking about their layout, but
the media.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with how am I gonna like it if you want your game, do I give it to you on a flash drive? Do we put it on an SD card? Disc. I don't really want to do CD-ROMs because you can't, or DVDs because you can't fit a lot on there. Plus, then I'd have to figure out stamping a DVD with a brand and stuff like that. And the box size that I have is just too not quite big enough to support, I think, a CD. So you
have all these different packages then.
Well, that's the thing that I started with. I had all these ideas for things, but I want to get down to the thing. It's like I want to make it very, very simple. You get a box, you get a booklet, you get some media that I'm thinking of just a flash drive would probably be the easiest. You get these 3 things in it, and it's this price point. And that's it. It's, $25. You get these 3 things. And here's how you do your end. You buy it once and we'll ship it to you, kind of a deal. So I think the simpler I can make that story and the more targeted, and then I can focus on just delivering those things and delivering them well. I think that'll be giving less options to start is probably a very good thing. Let's just leave it at that. So, but I'm zeroing in on that. The manual stuff, the box, I think I can make both of those. Now I've got to do some process improvement and get it down just so that I can repeatedly make the same thing. And then I've got to figure out this, if it's a USB thing. It'd be really great if I could find those USBs in the shape of a flash drive or a floppy disk. So I think that would be a pretty killer thing to use. But I've also considered just having an SD card as the media as well, and buying like little labels to put on those, print and put on those. But then, yeah, I guess once I get that figured out, I really should be just targeting get this out in the hands of somebody and see if I can get some customers. And I don't necessarily need to make money on it right away, and I won't. I'm already not in debt, but I'm my costs so far. I've bought printers and materials and papers and stuff like that to do my prototyping with. So I'm not going to be making back my money anytime soon on those things.
Yeah.
But if I can validate that people want this thing and that it fills a need, I mean, I see directions I can go to try to boost profits, so I can improve my processes to reduce my my expenses or whatever. I can try to partner with people to add, like, when you get, if you've seen those like mailer boxes or whatever that come with like advertisements for things and stuff. So if I could deliver your box shrink wrapped with a bunch of other stuff that's advertising stuff for game developers, that would probably be something I could charge for advertising there. What I think would be really, really, really killer to do is partner with this site called itch.io. It's a game marketplace, open game marketplace. So it's akin to Steam or whatever. But what would be really cool if I could do is get it so that people could go onto there and say, hey, I want to order a physical copy of this, have that go, and then I do the fulfillment and everything of that with it. And so it's just would be right into their site. Like if you had a page with an ebook and you're like, I want to order a physical copy of this ebook print on demand, then you just get it like that. Anyways, I've got lots of ideas, but I got to get that. The thing is, I think the valuable point of this is getting rid of all of that stuff and realizing that I got to get a paying customer first, and prove out that I'm doing, an okay job with it, and that people are satisfied with what I'm making. So,
You have an Xbox?
yeah.
They still have okay. You have Xbox Live?
Yeah.
I thought there was a category. I'm not sure if it's still there for indie games.
Yeah. So Xbox 360 had like the indie Xbox Live indie games, which was community games at first. When Xbox One came around, they didn't at first have that available. Now they do. It's called their Creators Collection, and it's a shadow of what it was on Xbox. There's not a lot of people developing for it, but if you want to make a game for Xbox right now, you can. You basically, when you submit a Windows app, you've got the option to submit to Xbox as well. So
I'm curious if you can tap into their whatever API that's exposed to get those publishers and market to them.
Oh yeah, I'm not really worried about, or I'm not thinking about publishers, because the thing is, publishers already have avenues for this. There's a site called Limited Run. I think it's called Limited Run Games, to do limited run games for PlayStation and Switch and stuff like that, where they can. So they'll do physical releases for bigger known games or bigger indie games. What I'm trying to do is say, hey, and this is something that, personally, like, I think would be cool, or I would want, is I'm as a hobbyist, you dump all this time in your game, or you're making these little games and you have nothing physical to show for it. You've got nothing that's a conversation piece that you can talk about with someone. I can't really lift up and say, hey, I made this game this one time, and start chatting with you about it. Without going to the web or bringing up my phone and fumbling around trying to find the site. And meanwhile, somebody's, not interested anymore. I want to have something in my hands where I can be like, oh yeah, this represents, this time of my life that I spent toiling over learning how to do physics in a game or whatever. And
there's trade shows for people that
are
indie developers.
Yeah. I think the bigger ones are all finished up. There's like the GDC, the Game Developer Conference. There's I guess PAX. PAX is another one. And I think if I was successful at doing, just getting some organic interest or whatever, or not organic, but just getting some people interested in it based on the avenues that I have now, it would be a kind of a logical step to try to drum up business at trade shows, and have a presence there.
So here's something, and this might sound retarded. All right. So I just came out of DigiPen. You heard of DigiPen?
Yeah.
All right. So I just came out of DigiPen, and I'm looking for an employer, whether it's EA Sports or well, shall I say Electronic Arts or whoever. And so I'm going to some organized job fair for game developers. I'm sure that they're out there because I've watched it once on YouTube, and I really want to impress them and show my work. How are they doing it now? How are people that want to apply for jobs at gaming companies showing their work?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't done that. So
I'm curious if this is like fits into that narrative.
Well, it could be. You know, one of the other use cases that I've thought of for this is literally like you're a game, if you're a game developer and you're going to a trade show trying to hawk your game, and you wanted a limited set of physical copies to hand out, but you wanted it in a more impressive form than just here's a flash drive with the game on it, or here's a disc with the game on it. You know, having something like that, which has a printed piece of effectively a printed piece of art on it, you know, and shrink wrapped and ready to go and looks kind of, you know, professional or whatever. I think that could be another avenue. And I talked to some people about that last year. You know, somebody had said, "Hey, I'm interested. I'm going to be going to a trade show, and it would be kind of cool to have a few copies of my, you know, game available for this trade show." So, but yeah, the line of thinking though of, hey, this is something that you could use as a way to gain interest, competitive interest or whatever in your product as a game developer is another avenue. You know, the other thing I thought would be kind of cool to do is to just have an actual online store for the games themselves, where, you know, you're a game developer and you're not just ordering for yourself, but you can put it up on sale in the marketplace, and then we just, you know, when they print it, I take a portion and we give it, the rest goes to the developer or whatever, or they set the price above cost, and then, you know, we go that route. So there's a lot of ways I could swing this, but that's all like, you know, and I've thought about all of these things, and it's all future stuff. I need to do the first step, which I haven't done yet, which is I got to literally find some customers and just get my process down. And once I get comfortable with that, then I can start thinking about what's the next thing that will drive this forward and be successful, so I can deliver, you know, mega value to game devs out there. I really love the game dev community though. It's generally speaking, game developers are really positive and you know, pretty awesome to be around.
My stereotype, just because I haven't really invested time like indulging in the community, I just have this mental model of them all being like emos.
No, man, it's all sorts of the person who created this is like probably a you know, middle-aged, I'm guessing middle-aged, I don't know, you know, guy who does a normal job, has a family, and lives in, I assume, Cleveland. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's Cleveland. So just you know, normal people who are doing their everyday jobs, you know, that have this kind of like side dream of, hey, I wanted to make a game because I grew up with this or that. So and you know, that's where we're at. And a lot of those people grew up with physical media, which is why, you know, there's a market, I think, right now. You know, there might not be a market for this in 10 years when you know, the next gen who started with digital stuff gets gets kind of in their prime money making years. So
no, there's always a market for vintage.
yeah. So, but anyways, I gotta probably wrap it up here. As far as for next week, I have to get that. I've got to figure out the Shopify stuff. So I'll probably try to push it. I will push that through. Just adding like I can even just add like a buy fake product number 4 and just push an order through and figure out that whole process. And then I got to have a good looking manual printed and done. So good as in I've got the process down. I can repeat it given some uploads or some images of what the pages should look like. I should be able to print them off and have them, make them so I can fold them and put them together and all that stuff. So it's kind of what I'm going to go with. But my daughter's bus just went by, so I've got about a minute.
All right. We'll take off. I got to do my taxes, man, so I'm not going to really have too much of a deliverable next Friday. My taxes are probably going to demand like 5 days.
Wow. That's nuts. So,
yeah.
Well, have fun.
Thanks. All right, Sean, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye. And